Hi Maria, thank you for having me on your channel. How about we talk a little bit about wine? To decant or not to decant? That is the question. I know, it's not quite as fundamental as Shakespeare's question, but this one is pretty relevant, especially if you want to enjoy wine. What happens is this. Wine, for all practical intents and purposes, it's a living entity. You get it in a bottle. It can be with a twist top, or it can be with a cork, synthetic or natural. But the wine inside is going to keep aging. It's going to keep changing. It's going to morph into something fuller. And eventually, it'll start to decay inside the bottle without doing anything to it. If you leave the bottle in a hot area, it's going to promote certain changes. If you put the bottle in an area that is too cold, it's going to promote other changes. However, time is something that's going to happen to all wines, no matter where you keep them. Time also means that the wine is going to have some of the substances that are in suspension, they're going to precipitate. So that's why it's so important to keep the wine bottles at an angle. If you keep them straight up, then all it's going to accumulate underneath. That's why some of the bottles have this kind of bottom. So technically the idea is that all that sedimentation is going to become a ring down there, and it shouldn't hurt the rest of the wine. The best way to keep the wine, however, is slightly tilted, because that will allow a lot more of the wine to be served when the time comes. Now, as the wine ages, it starts to intensify flavors and aromas up to a point, and then it starts to degrade, as we said before. However, the point is this: once you have a wine that you've carefully kept in a nice dark place, cool, and it's ready to be drunk 5 years, 10 years after being bottled, you want to get as much out of it as you can. A lot of wines today are made with sulfurs and sulfites in order to preserve them and to stop fermentation and so on and so forth. And that sometimes give not very pleasant aromas, plus the fact that it could also give you a little bit of a headache if you drink too much. So ideally, you want to let the wine open up. What we mean by that is to allow oxygen to interact with the wine, and that'll make it a lot more palatable. For something like that, you use a decanter. There, the question, to decant or not to decant. There are some wines that very much benefit from decanting. For instance, the Châteauneuf du Pape. It's a typical wine that needs time to open up after the bottle's opened. You can serve it and leave it in the glass for about 20 to 30 minutes. And if you do the test, if you serve it and take a sniff, give it a swirl, take another sniff, you'll get some aromas. But if you let it rest, or if you decant the bottle, it's going to be a completely different experience, and it's going to be wonderful. Right now, we're in 2023. So this Cabernet Franc from 19, it's just in the right place to be decanted. It's not too old, it's about 4 years old, but it's just at the right time when, if we decant it, most of the sulfur and the sulfites are going to evaporate while we decant it. The color is going to get more intense because of the interaction with the oxygen, and the aromas are going to open up a lot quicker. That particular bottle of Cabernet Franc is probably going to be very enjoyable decanted for the next couple of years. So between 5 and 7 years is just about the ideal time to drink modern wines. Another Cabernet Franc that we've been looking at lately is this one from Vinology. And we've also tried it decanted, and it's absolutely wonderful. You decant it, you let it rest for about 15 minutes, and the aromas, the bouquet are just fantastic. Also, the color becomes a lot more sparkling. It wakes up the wine. So, in general, the answer to decant or not to decant is go ahead, decant, go crazy. Younger wines. If it's a wine from the same year, or if it's a 2-year-old wine, it may not benefit from decanting because it's simply not that old. The best way is to try it. Go ahead, pour it carefully right here so that it goes all around the side of the inside of the decanter that exposes the wine to the air, and it oxygenates the liquid. So give it a try. I'm sure you'll enjoy it.